Well, this kind of caught my eye. Got this little piece sticking out of the rock. Unfortunately, I was kind of hyper focused on that, but I looked right over here, and what do we have here? Wow. Went from the incompetent rock hunter to liberating some good stuff off the hill. That might be a pretty one. It's got some greens and different things in it. I have to see what happens when my bud puts it on the saw, but that's kind of a cool piece. Loosen him up a little. I haven't extracted him, but I was having a hell of a time. Holy Toledo. Look at that big son of a gun. Oh, wow. Wow. Look how big that is. And it's complete. It's not broken. Hopefully there's no fractures. Looks real good. We got a little bit of a window there. What a nice find. Wow. Now here's that big monster. World class. Try to find nodules this big. Look how big this thing is. Anyway. Oh, Mother Nature, you're so mean. You're so mean. Look at that thing. I knew it. That incompetent rock hound has got one that has got a perfect floating fortification, and it looks like there is no fractures, and there's a complete float in the quartz. I knew it. Gosh dang it. Boo. All right. Today, on this episode, we are actually going from rock counting pleasure to a finished treasure. And not the thumbnail showing it. Watch. And it's using a contrarian alternate method to reach end result. Now that end result is, I can't say it enough, is reversible if somebody wants to do and take a lot more time to do it a traditional way. This non-traditional is fitting the bill for everything except for cabochons. And I think it actually would work just fine for that. But the cabbing machine is amazing, just how you're dealing with a small product. And it is a tolerable time to polish versus the big materials. The big materials are the ones that get to where you're passing out sleepy. So, hey, thank you so very much. Please hit that like button, subscribe. Hey, share. The evolution could always use some more contrarians. Thank you so very much. Now here's old G's nice, wonderful nodule that he found. And we are going through the process from discovery to the finished product in hardly any of the usual time. This, of course, has spent a little time in a cat litter bath, which you see right here. There's a nice collection of agate nodules with some petrified wood mixed in. We have large, medium, and smalls, but I just like to hit the face, let it sit in there for a week, and then after that, it could sit for a month. Doesn't really matter. but I don't really like taking all the mineral oil off of the rind. I like the beauty in which that nice slick oil adds to the stone. Now back to your originally scheduled program. Once it has spent a little time in there, I would say I would recommend a week. Let it sit, soak it out. Remember, the backhand side in the rind doesn't mean anything, but we want to get that mineral oil out of there. Some good degreaser dish soap with water and give them a good wash. That's just a little extra precaution. We just don't want to see mineral oil contaminant. That is really your only thing that could actually create a potential failure or a potential bubble, such as this. Those kind of things is basically, in a nutshell, is what we're trying to eliminate, so we don't have to redo. Now remember, this is reversible. If somebody wants to actually do it the more traditional styles, such as this, well, it's still there. There's nothing saying that you can't. You could actually take the DA with 80 grit and actually remove the clear. There might be a pocket or two if you really want to get serious, but those pockets will polish with the traditional method. It's not like this has to stay for eternity on this beautiful agate if you don't want it. But this is one of the best ones that we have located on the Evolution this year, with that beautiful floating fortification. And I'm going to use this method. So once we've got our product dry, you can assist it with an air blower, compressed air, or just naturally just let it dry. So whatever time it takes to get to where you have it clean. Now the reason why it's on cardboard box is to show that anybody can actually do this. You don't have to have a spray booth. You don't have to have things. Just keep your overspray to a minimum and actually utilize this technique. You will not regret it. So I will show you here. This is applying. Now I will go ahead and actually show you the best I can, me applying it to this nodule. Now this is basically just tacking them. Just tack them off. Little blower on it. If you notice, I'm using even a used one. It's not that important. It's just nice to have it as clean as you can have it before you apply the clear. Now the gun is set up. It could be a cheap one, even from Harbor Freight. It's not that critical in actually applying the material at this stage. You just don't want to have a bunch of material or any. If you really had something that was really precious to you, you would want to possibly even mask the rind, so that the rind would have no material on it. But it doesn't take, just get some material. We're gonna probably apply about 5 coats when it's all said and done here. I'm not gonna drag you through the whole process. You can see those suture cracks, and it would be nice. I haven't epoxied. You could epoxy this. You could pre-set that so those impurities, those stress cracks, things of that, you basically could fill it, just like a lapidary unit. I choose just to leave it by itself, let the clear do its thing. But look at how Old Jesus is starting to really jump. You can see just how wonderful that banding is. Now that has 5 coats of automotive clear on it at this stage. That is almost double what we'd normally put on an automobile. So we just want the material to flow into those impurities, the pits, things that you definitely don't have the opportunity to do traditional style. You can see just how beautiful those fortifications are on that nodule. So we will let this dry overnight, and then we will address it accordingly. 2 days is better, even a week, but you can do it easily overnight and then begin the process in the morning. We don't want to have any imperfections if we can, and do it in by far less time than traditional method. And he said this is one of the finest ones that we have located this year, self-collected. The most you can do at one time will definitely be the most efficient. So for this episode, I am doing these 2. Now a little more in depth of this is in that video right there. But this one right here, we're just taking 800. And I'm taking most of all the impurities out of it already. You can see it around the island. We're just going to do this half of this nodule, but I'm just working it with the 80. I got, remember, 5 coats of clear on this nodule. And we always have the ability to go back to do traditional. But if I didn't have all the confidence that I have, I would not be doing this. Could possibly be the finest one that we did. I just see it working better than traditional. So being a contrarian, I've got to follow what I see. And I know that I can turn it the opposite direction. So I'm going to get to the polishing stage here real quick. Now, trailblazers have always been lonely. Well, it reminds me of a Twilight Zone that I have seen. And it's one of my favorite episodes I have ever seen. Is basically everybody's having fun, giggling, laughing, joking around. Well, there was an individual who was building a bomb shelter. When everybody was having a party, he was working. The family was working. And then they had a great scare. It was based in the 50s. And nobody had the shelter. But the one person who was the trailblazer, anyway, had the shelter. But you know what? Everybody crowded into the neighborhood, destroyed the shelter, and it was a false alarm. And their response was, hey, let's have a party. Well, this method here, with this little 4-inch system, goes up to about 3,000 grit. Very inexpensive. This is my favorite, other than what I have just what we're showing here on this episode. And I'm going to go ahead and fire this up. This nodule here has a little tick right there. Now remember, most people desire the hard square edges. I don't mind a round softed edge, but with the method that we're showing in this episode and that we will be utilizing from the Rock Hounder's Pleasure Turns into a Treasure series, basically we're going to use the method that this episode is really focusing on. This is basically the breakout video for a series on the evolution, because there is a lot of material that needs to be played with. And I had it stacked up so I could do it with this piece of equipment. But guess what? This one is starting to lose its need. This is a 50 grit, and we're just going to take that nodule. I have a pan right here. I'll just wet it down. We're just going to take that little nodule. All I want to do. The old flat lap, high-tech angle lap, pretty much gone. Because that 50 grit scratches is no problem for the automotive material. It might even actually help it here. Now the nodule is gone. This is definitely a good system for a traditional polish. I'll show you one that is a crappy one. 2 hours later, I still have scratches. See, right there, that tick is gone. And that's all I wanted to do with that, is remove that tick. This is actually could be the best nodule we have found all year. I'm going to scrub this around so we don't get a bunch of slop. Okay, keep it off the outside. And fire up the old Strata. Number 7, here we begin. I'll tell you, this is so much more relaxing to do than some of the other procedures like that. This actually works very well. We'll have a little bit of white that will be just like cerium oxide would be down in those little pockets. Well, it'd be better to wash it when it's clean. So as you can see just how shiny that's getting. Everything I can. We're in the garage here. Heat it up a little. They got plenty of compound. Work at every little inch. Remember, I do this. Been around a polisher all my life. Dang near anyway. Might take a little bit of a learning curve, just like using any equipment does. But it really, truly, this little Strata polisher is not very grabby. It doesn't try to yank. You can do the very tiny little nodules. The Rock Hounding Pleasure to Treasure series, this is what we're going to do. We'll show the finding and also a quick, it'll get more quicker than this. This is still trying to catch up everybody. This is not Now remember, this is this polish, and I don't know how well that's going to show. You can see what I'm doing is trying to remove. Since this one was quite pure, I decided to just do an 800 grit. You could take a step further, 1200, then polish, but it seems to be cooperating, just getting it to about 800. Then that polisher seems to be able to remove it. So now we're going to change pads, and we will go ahead and remove the polishing scratches, and we'll take a look at this. Now we went to the foam pad. Now we've got the other compound. The other video describes about the compounds. We just don't have to, this might even have a little too much. Turn this up to maximum RPM, and now we'll just slowly burn it in. You can press quite hard with this. It's been pretty impressive. I'm going to stay center because it's pretty sloppy until I start using a little bit of it up. So I don't want to get a bunch of slop on the outside. Oh, but it is turning into a mirror. I hope that and then since it's starting to dry up, I'm hitting some of the parameter now. Look at that thing shine. Oh, hopefully the camera will give it justice, because it is absolutely shining. Now, possibly, the automotive clear might have the ability to go a step shinier, not look cheesy, but actually just a step higher gloss than the natural substrate. But what's wrong with that? Especially if I can take an 80 grit and remove that in about 15 seconds. With 80 grit, that clear would be off of there in about 15 seconds. Only those little pockets right there would actually be to where there might be some material in there. Now, sometimes being a contrarian is a lonely place, but I don't think the Trailblazers are actually had a crowd. But it is so pretty. I have actually tried a traditional, like the ZAM, the Syrian oxides and so forth, and basically it doesn't gain anything on the automotive clear. There is polishes that I could take it to the nth degree. Everybody has seen show cars. Okay, well, this beautiful nodule can be a show car. It is show. For the Evolution, that is absolutely beautiful, self-collected nodule by old G. Knoll himself. Now, the other one, I chose not to touch. I thought it looked just fine with the amount of fractures and so forth that it has. If you wanted to make perfection, you'd go ahead and epoxy this first. But this right here is before the stage that I just did to the other one. Like I said, this is plenty shiny. It looks nice. And this was 90% less time that it would take to actually do it the ways that you have seen in this show. What a miserable life that is to do that. You can see this big girl. She just grabs the reflection. Okay. We'll go back to old G's. Okay. See, he's grabbing the reflection too. Okay. But this one in your hand looks more traditional. When you do not touch it, it has a little bit of a look, not cheesy, but it has a little bit of a look like maybe something's up with that. And again, it is reversible. I am not afraid that I just ruined this nodule of old G's. Potentially the best one that we have self-collected this year, because I put some automotive clear on it for display. It is absolutely stellar beautiful. Hopefully you've enjoyed. I'm doing everything I can to show a contrarian point of view. And in an upcoming video, I'm going to be up at Spencer, Idaho, looking for things that aren't opal. Let's see what we can find. Thank you very much.